Hey everyone, welcome to the Obscura Undead Weekly Update. I am your co-host, Azzy.
And I'm the other co-host, Mouse.
And we're here to bring you your weekly roundup of band, tour, and music news. So before we get into the news, we just want to thank everyone who has supported us since we put out the first video. We have gotten so much positive response on YouTube and Facebook and Patreon as well, and we didn't expect that, to be quite honest.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's only gone up just a couple of days ago.
For us, yeah, between recording this and uploading.
It's been awesome. So we will keep doing our videos, so just stick with us. And thank you so much for checking out our website at obscuraundead.com and our YouTube and Patreon.
And we do want to give a special shout out and thank you to one of our shiny new patrons on Patreon, Acid Bitter, for donating a ton of codes for us to give away on the show. So starting this episode, we are going to be giving away one digital album every week. The first one we're giving away is Drab Majesty's debut album, Careless. We will also be announcing the winner for our 500 Facebook giveaway that we've been running over the last 3 weeks over on Facebook. And for that, we're giving away a physical vinyl of Ritual Howls' latest album, Rendered Armor. And it's the special vinyl. It's the clear one with the black splatter on it. It looks very cool. Plus, we have some neat Obscura Undead goodies to go along with whoever gets the grand prize. We do have a second and third prize on that too, but more on that later.
All right, so in news this week, we have a new music video for Minuit Machine, which we mentioned in our last video. This video came out today, April 23rd, and it's called Drugs. So without the U, so it's Dergs. And it's a beautiful video. So make sure you check it out. Did you have any comments on it?
I did. We watched this together just a little bit ago before we started recording. Because it, like we said, it just came out today, and the video is just absolutely gorgeous. It's a bunch of club footage shot on an iPhone X at a night at the Moulin Rouge, and it is Amandine and Helene, who are Minuit Machine, plus some Synth Religion label mates. So it was...
we've got Matthew from Fragrance, mm-hmm. and Benjamin from Marble Slave were also there, and they're just dancing and bopping their heads, and it's all slow-mo and atmospheric and our favorite colors, and just really puts you in the mood.
It really does, and a lot of the scenes are juxtaposed, first initially with images of Amandine and Helene sitting in black and white by a riverside, no one else, so just being completely still, and it really, really clashes with the club scene. But as you further progress into the video, there's a lot of overlaid mushroom clouds and atomic blasts and bombed out buildings, and it makes perfect sense given the lyrical content of the song. Minuit Machine actually described the song as being about the ambivalence of our generation. People in their 20s and 30s who struggled in a very complex world in which very serious, life-threatening issues are constantly highlighted by the mass media. Drugs is about living in the moment, dancing, which they were doing, getting wasted, trying to kill any negative thoughts by abusing something, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, or a relationship. Drugs is both very positive, because it's about living in the moment, and very dark, because it really is about that feeling of, the world's going to shit with
let's just
everything going on.
And feeling numb and desensitized about all of it.
Mm-hmm. I really did feel the song was very
song
powerful.
Itself is very moving. Mm-hmm. I hope to hear more of that on the new album, which is called Infrarouge, by the way. Mm-hmm. That's due out on Synth Religion on May 13th.
Right, and if I may be so bold as to say, I do think that this single is my favorite thing out of their entire catalog, which I believe is even more so than Honey, which is my favorite song off their last album, Violent Rains. So go check it out. We're going to put a link in the comments below. I wish that we could show it to you. It is a beautiful and sad and powerfully moving video.
Also on Minuit Machine's Bandcamp, you can get pre-orders for their album available on vinyl. Looks like there's 2 different colored editions, translucent red with white streaks and translucent orange with red streaks. And they're also selling one of their earlier albums, reissue of Violet Rains. Violent Rains on marbled purple vinyl.
On violet vinyl?
On violet vinyl. So that was very hard for me to say. Mm-hmm. So those are going fast. There's only like 280 or 300 of each.
Yeah, believe me when I say mouse broke her finger pre-ordering the purple vinyl.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
That's it for the news, but that's it for this week's news at least. But there's actually quite a bit to look forward to in the next release. We have a ton of stuff coming out, so we're not going to tell you about all of it, but we're going to tell you about a couple of things that we're particularly looking forward to. So the first couple of things coming out at the end of April. On the 26th, the Bluebeard's Castle Beyond the Door, which is a goth album, is coming off of Cold Transmission. And also on the 26th is honestly what I'm more excited about, because I have been just loving the music video that they put out for this album, which is Virgin Veil's Permanent Funeral. This is a death rock band from Finland, and their single Darkness at Noon definitely takes the album in, I shouldn't say album, it takes the band in a different direction than how it has been before. It feels a bit more melancholy and introspective, and we did an interview with the singer Jacques Saff, and you can find that up on our website and also link it below. And he said that a lot of it is about coping with mental illness, and I'm really, really, really excited for that release.
One thing that I'm excited for, The Rope just came out this week. Their album is called Lillian. You could get that on Bandcamp. And at the very beginning of May is Auto Melody. So their album is all in French, so please forgive me while I butcher it. But the album name is Mirages au Futur Ver Brisé.
Sorry.
And so if you pre-ordered their album like I did a couple of months ago, their first track that was released on pre-order is called La Poussière. Please forgive me again. And then this week they just released another preview track. So now you might have to go download it again if you had already done the digital pre-order. So go check it out. Also in French, so I'm not going to try to say that.
Yeah. On May 3rd, we're also getting Second Still's next album, Violet Phase, which sounds a little bit different from their previous work, but not. I don't know how to characterize it as different. It's not bad. It's great. So we're excited about that too. I did pre-order that one, and I don't usually pre-order albums.
Oh, and more from The Rope. Even though The Rope released their album just this week, they're going to have a collection that's coming out May 3rd.
Yeah, Swiss Dark Knight is releasing a bunch of remasters of previous releases from them.
All right, so for music reviews, we have 4 albums to review today. First up,
None, Heat. And that's None, None, not N-U-N.
Actually the name
None.
of the band.
Mm-hmm. And this was our Patreon patrons selected album. So None is a solo project by Anna Nin, a German-based experimental cold wave, dark wave artist. Thank you. And she has a side project also called Glaring, which honestly, I'm not entirely sure what the difference between the two projects are, except that None sounds a little bit darker because her music, Anna Nin's music, is very dark. It's very atmospheric, and it's not something that I would usually go in with as something that I would enjoy listening to, but I did enjoy this album a surprising amount because usually I'm not big on atmospheric sort of music, but this has enough variety and movement between the tracks. The composition is just really great that it holds my attention. I have a short attention span.
I felt a little differently about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I would call it dark because for me it felt light. So just to explain, you were mentioning the atmospheric part of it. So her music is mostly instrumental based, very experimental in the sound of it, and it reminded me of like old ethereal style, like Project Records, Black Tape for a Blue Girl, Lycia, that kind of thing, where you've just got like this wall of sound, like this ocean of music, and a lot of it's very like long, and you'll only hear like a couple of notes happening in a few minutes. And so for that, it just felt like very airy and light to me, but that's just the way that I took it.
No, I think I get what you're saying. With me, I usually find a lot of that pretty monotonous and boring, and I lose attention pretty quick, but there's enough in the composition where even though it was single note, it changed up a little bit thematically within the same song, and even between songs where I didn't just tune out half the album, which I usually do with this style of music.
So the one thing that I wanted to mention on this was the first track. It's called Faint. Just totally caught me off guard. You've got that noisy, atmospheric kind of sound to it, and it goes on for 5 minutes. And then the last song is the word faint upside down. It's really spelled upside down, and the backwards. Song is in reverse. And I am a sucker for backwards music, so I loved it, and that is my favorite track on the album.
That was a really interesting track. I could not for the life of me figure out what that said until I was just like, wait, is this song backwards?
It was upside down. Like, go look at it on Bandcamp.
And backwards. And I was just like, wait a second. And I'm like, put on my conspiracy theory, like cryptologist hat, like cipher breaking. And
is it a little tinfoil hat?
Yes, I keep it at home on my shelf for situations just like this. My favorite track off the album, though, I think was either Seeking, which had a very new wave feel, and a lot of the instruments were a bit more dynamic and engaging than what I felt was on other tracks, or Gone, which I think was probably the most post-punk track on the entire album. And that was something that I definitely also really liked about this album, is that it had a lot of acoustic markers of different genres on it. So while it all had that atmospheric quality, it had like that tiny little thing that makes you go, oh, hey, new wave. Oh, hey, cold wave. Oh, hey, post-punk.
I just heard ethereal, experimental atmosphere. But
I think that's the experimental part.
Yeah. So, all right, form your own opinions. You can find it on Bandcamp on Squall Recordings.
Yep, and it came out April 1st.
All right, next album we want to review is Jakuzi.
Hata Payi.
That's as good a pronunciation as you're going to get.
It's Turkish.
So Jakuzi, yes, he's from Turkey. This album is a beautiful album. You could get it on Bandcamp. I classify it as, I guess, dark wave post-punk-ish.
With synth pop in there, I definitely think there's some synth pop in there.
Yes, I think you're right. So so this band, I knew him from a couple of years back. He had a previous album called Fantasy Music, I think. And it was very like indie synth pop-ish, and now he has a lot more influences that almost sound like she passed away. Like maybe they're hanging out in Turkey. I don't know, but the album now is much darker, very mellow, smooth and relaxing almost, and some beautiful compositions on there.
Right. I think it started off really strong with the first 2 tracks. I wish I could pronounce them for you.
I can.
Oh, good. Please do.
Okay, so the first track is Sane Gore Bishayok, because I listened to that song 1,000 times. Freaking good. And the second song is called Sofe. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It could be Suf.
I think it's Shufe. I have no idea. So I think that those 2 are some of the strongest tracks on the album.
Absolutely are. Track 1 and track 2 on repeat.
Yeah, it lost me towards kind of throughout the middle. There wasn't much that stood out to me up until it got to the last 2 tracks.
There's a song called Toz.
Okay.
In there is one of the strong ones at the end, and I can't remember the other one. But you can go on YouTube and check out music videos for Suf and Toz.
We will also link them for you below.
Yeah, but great.
So don't worry, they'll be easy to find.
Great album.
The next album that we're looking at is one that was sent to us. Thank you. It is The Heavens Dream Reaper. This one came out on March 1st, and I really enjoyed this album. It has a lot of sort of the Cure vocal vibes over some new wave elements throughout that you might find in bands like Tears for Fears or Duran Duran. But one thing that I really enjoyed about the entire album was that it wasn't necessarily as busy as I expected it to be, based on the based on sort of the music touchstones. I liked that it wasn't afraid to use space for reverb or just beats, and it felt minimal in a way that I haven't been hearing in a lot of minimal wave.
And that's a good point, but I took that the opposite way. To me, the simplicity of it made it sound a little bit incomplete, almost like there were parts of it that were missing. So like it sounded like it would be wavy, but it is missing all of that mid-level instrumentation. So it does kind of sound a little underproduced, but as Azzy says, it could be that that's by design just to make it
I really think that it is, because I've been listening to so much of this modern post-punk and new wave music that combines the two and has the Cure and Duran Duran sort of influences, but it all blends together, and I get a little sick of it sometimes.
Well, you think everything sounds like the Cure.
Well, it does in the vocals, but that's fine. But I felt like this was sort of a fresh take on that blending, and I don't know if it's the indie influence or what exactly it was, but it was definitely refreshing. And my favorite tracks off of this album were Hungry for Sunlight, which I think is the very first track. It was also a single that they put out with Birth of a Vampire.
Birth of a Vampire. That's my favorite track.
And these two are single tracks that they put out before the release of the album. I also really liked Forest Angel, which I think is their most Cure-y song, which most bands influenced by the Cure have a song Forest Something or Something Forest. And that's their very, sort of homage track in sound. And I really liked the closer track, Hellmouth. I thought that was pretty great. And we'll have a link to that on Bandcamp. The last album that we have to review is the album that we are going to be giving away this week. It is Ritual Howls, Rendered Armor on Felt Records, released March 22nd this year. And it is a fun, twangy.
That is the word that I was going to use to describe it. That's my word. Twangy.
Oh, is it? I have it written right down here in my notes.
So I wasn't sure what to expect with this. I knew that the Ritual Howls sound was kind of changing a little bit over time. We kind of got a sneak peek at it. And then, Rendered Armor comes out, and it's got that like outlaw country kind of goth. Is that...
Yeehaw goth?
Is that bad to say, like country goth? Let's not say that. Okay.
I don't think so. I think it has some very Americana and Western elements.
Okay, let's say Southern goth.
I do like
but
Southern
then I
Gothic.
also did feel like I was riding on a horse in the desert with my cowboy hat, and I was ready to go. Ritual Howls, yes. A couple of favorite tracks that I had was Love Cuts.
Love Cuts is a great track.
And then whatever came after that, which I can't remember the track after that.
Well, we have the vinyl.
Oh, we do?
Right here, and we can check on the back.
The Offering.
Those
to me were, that was like the climax of the entire album, which, by the way, there's only 7 songs on it. A couple of them are kind of slow and folky, like Nick Cave, I guess. And then you have those 2, which added some dynamic synth elements, which were a little unexpected. And that was refreshing for me, so I really enjoyed that.
One song that I kept thinking about is Do You Believe in the Westworld by Theater of Hate. I just kept thinking of that song the entire time listening to this album, and it's just so spaghetti western. It was
Westworld.
Do you believe in the Westworld? I do believe. Okay. It's the album is just great, and lyrically it deals a lot with metaphysical themes, which of course you'd expect from a Ritual Howls album. And I don't know what else to say beyond, like, This is another band that has a recent release that combined elements that, other bands aren't doing right now. So again,
you're right.
Yeah.
So it is kind of refreshing.
It is. Like an oasis in the desert.
Oh my god. And there I am on my camel.
Horse.
Oh, on my horse with my hat. It's a New Gok hat though.
Yeah.
Here's my country hat right here.
Your country hat. Oh, that is perfect. You came prepared. Wow. I also really liked the single track Alone Together, and
I totally forgot about that. Track one.
I don't know. And then I really liked Mother of the Dead. I thought that had some very death rock vocal vibes.
I did hear the death rock, but it went on a little too long and it kind of lost interest.
Well, I mean, it has a lot of Americana and death rock vibes. I mean, what's more American goth than that? Honestly.
All right, so does that mean we can give it away now?
That means we can give it away now.
Not the Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Don't even.
I actually almost did that. I almost did that entire lyrical thing. Just shoot me now.
All right, so now that we finished our reviews, please let us know what you think. Any comments about these albums, just let us know in the comments, and maybe you'll be selected for our next giveaway.
Which we will get to in a minute. First, we are going to give away this shiny, beautiful vinyl. Ooh. This is the Black Splatter clear vinyl. Oh, you want to hold it? No, don't open it.
I'm not gonna open it.
That's the joy of whoever wins. So cool.
I just wanted to touch it.
It took everything in me to not open this, to look at the vinyl. I am so happy that I'm friends with people who bought this so I could see their pictures. It's gorgeous. We have serious problems. Don't ever start collecting vinyl. It's a serious addiction.
Don't start collecting colored darkwave vinyl.
Yeah.
It's an obsession.
The next thing the winner we choose is going to get is this lovely handmade Obscura Undead patch in purple. This was made by
Junkyard Bat,
who he writes DIY articles for our website, and he makes some really cool jewelry and some really cool patches. So he made this patch, and the last thing is in this cool little box. And inside the box, which is lined with velvet that you probably can't see, is this Obscura Undead inspired necklace. This is really beautiful. He went above and beyond for this, just for the giveaway.
All right, well, it's time to pick our winner. So we cut everybody's name. We're going to throw it into a hat, which I happen to have right here as I was riding through the desert on my
horse with no name.
Oh, okay. They're all in there, see? This is everybody who...
This feels like a magic trick.
Wait.
No, I'm just going to mix it up. You can keep talking.
This is everybody who participated. Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. Anything else?
No, Facebook,
right.
Instagram, and Patreon. Should one of us select it, or should we have one of our...
Maybe our director?
Maybe our director/cameraman? No? All right, he's shy. All right, so we're going to pick one. Damn it. I'll pick this one. And the winner is...
Jordan Spencer Arnold from New York on Facebook.
Who entered on Facebook. We will be in contact with you shortly.
Yay, congratulations, Jordan.
Congratulations for you to give us your address so we can send this out to you. It might come in 2 packages because we might need to ship the vinyl separately, but it will come. We promise. Oh, no, wait, bring that back. We have a second and third prize winner too, but second and third prize gets digital albums. So one of the digital albums is, of course, this one. Another one is Hante's Fierce. Aunt. And one of the digital albums is going to go to Zach Graves.
All right.
Also on Facebook.
And based out of Florida.
And the third prize winner is... entered on Instagram. So and Zach, we will be in contact with you on your respective platforms. You just need to have a Bandcamp account, and we'll send you a gift over there. And congratulations. This is exciting. I wish we could do this every week.
We will.
Sorry, that was really cheesy. But we are going to be doing weekly giveaways. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, this week we are going to be giving away a copy of Drab Majesty's first album, Careless. Okay, so to enter to win a copy of Drab Majesty's album, Careless, all you have to do is subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below on what your favorite album release so far this year has been. We'll probably end up having different questions every week just to keep things interesting, but we will take all of the comments next week when we record, which will be on Wednesday. So have your comments in by, what date is next Wednesday? Next Wednesday. We just want to backtrack a little bit and briefly mention before we move into the next segment that DJ Seraph, one of our writers, wrote a review of Solveig Matilda's newest release from April 19th, Constantly in Love, and he paints a beautiful picture of the album.
He does.
And we'll have a comment to his review below. And
Solveig Matilda, we mentioned her last week. She's the synth player in Kaelin Mikla, and he is a super fan of Kaelin Mikla. So make sure that you go check out his review.
And listen to the album, buy everything we talk about.
Mm-hmm. We do. We buy everything that we talk about. Some of it is sent to us, but
we'll always tell you.
We do purchase the music, so that's why it's very important, and for us to have followers who enjoy what we do. And we thank our patrons so much because it helps us to get more music.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of thanking our patrons, perfect segue, we would like to thank all the people who have signed up to donate money to keep the show going. Since we announced it, just 4, 5, 6 days ago?
Again, like 5 days ago.
So thank you, Skullgirdle. Thank you, Dave Azoaser. Thank you, Mason Shiver.
Acid Bitter.
Thank you, Acid Bitter. And thank you, too, for the download codes very much. Thank you, Cadaver Kelly. Thank you, Dia.
Silicus.
Really, thank you, everyone. It does mean the world to us. And we had a comment on our last video telling us to never stop. And you know what? We're going to never stop.
Never stop stopping.
Never stop stopping.
Never stopping. Yeah.
We're going to do this every week for you. And your feedback means everything to us. Your support means everything to us. So subscribe to our channel. Like us on Facebook. Like us on Instagram. We're at Obscura Undead across pretty much every single platform. And
that's it.
We'll see you next week.